Because ready or not, we are already recording, not streaming.
Let me know if you need to take another call or something like that, or go into a coughing fit or die or something. That way I can just cover for you
Cool. I mean,
by talking.
we're already recording, so people are gonna ask, is Count Sanj gonna die?
Yeah.
Well, we all are.
Eminently.
We all are gonna die someday. Talk on that.
Talk on that. Well, it's morbid to think about, but it's foolish not to think about. There's a paradox.
Cool. Well, to more fun topics. Welcome back to listeners who are
back.
tuning in.
I think it's a tradition that we have very odd intros, by the way.
I think so too.
Because you don't give me like a countdown. You don't go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or anything like that.
No.
Like, we're live.
I'm like, we're already live like 5 minutes ago. Way to spill all your personal information online.
Yeah, you get this weird growth on my, you know what?
It's funny.
We'll get that checked out.
So how was your week?
Pretty good, actually. It's been, I was sick Christmas Day, of course, because that's how it goes. And I about couldn't do anything, except I took some Dayquil, and after a short little power nap on the couch, I was pretty good, naturally. So it was good.
That's good. What did you? My week was. It was interesting because having work on a Wednesday, starting the week on a Wednesday was kind of a.
That is kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite feel as productive, or I didn't as work myself to the bone as much as I normally do. So I'm like, oh, it's just Wednesday. Work's just starting, and also I didn't go in anyway. So I had work on Wednesday, and that was all right. This week I did a lot of thinking about, the new year, obviously, because it's around the corner. Concerning my goals and long-term plans and such. Yeah, I mean, more to come there. More for you as opposed to the listeners, but more to come there.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to just hop right in?
Yeah.
Make this short and sweet?
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool.
Jump on it with both feet, man.
All right, cool. I laid the groundwork for us.
Okay, so this stream is probably going to be a little shorter, because we're just going to be kind of shooting the crap to a certain extent, and mostly just talking about what the goals are for the channel, how we got where we are, and more generally what our plans are going forward. So,
do I think about this?
You're welcome.
No one asked for this, for the record. So
obviously.
Don't tell anyone.
Do they ever ask for this? No, they don't.
I almost feel that a sneeze there. Okay. I guess the meta point, at least for me, to this stream is obviously the factual information that has been said is important, but also the way we relate, how we think. You can pick up on all that stuff in how we talk, essentially. So, why did you get into anime in the first place? I don't think people know about this.
Okay, so my relationship with anime, I guess, is very, very odd, right?
Odd
so
to whom? According to whom?
Well, I guess according to myself, I guess. So, paradoxically speaking, I always, up until I was about 18, I thought anime was very bizarre, right? However, I was a dumb kid and didn't realize that things like Pokemon, Digimon, and a couple others were anime. I didn't realize that.
Okay, first of all, question there. What do you mean by bizarre? And two, why didn't you put it together? Also, what is anime?
One, because I'm dumb. But
well, I don't know about that.
But two, it was I guess I related anime to being, I guess, overtly sexual almost.
Right.
In a way, right? Because it's in the United States, cartoons are for kids. Right? Maybe early teens, but that's kind of pushing it. And that was especially true back when I was growing up, right? There were very few adult animated shows. Right? You had Family Guy, American Dad, and a few others, and that was it. So it was very odd to see things like AOT or Death Note or anything like that that were very obviously made for a mature audience, right? And so, but Pokemon and all that stuff were for kids, so I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. So I guess
see.
I didn't connect the dots there.
So it was more of a cartoon as opposed to an anime, like a genre of cartoons, essentially.
Yeah, and it was the English dub, so I didn't realize
Gotcha.
that it actually wasn't American, actually, to a certain extent. And this is like, I'm talking like when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I absolutely loved Pokemon, so it wasn't like you were going to explain to me very easily that, oh, no, there's this place called Japan. They made this, and it wouldn't have clicked. So there's that.
And how old were you at this point? I guess, or age range?
So I was absolutely obsessed with Pokemon from about 7 years old until I was about probably 11 or 12.
Oh, wow. So your journey in anime started a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know, audience, Fun Count is aged. He's 60. And his beard is thick and white. If you saw him, you'd think it was Santa. How's that for an image?
That makes no chronological sense, being that Pokemon was invented in 1997.
How dare you deal in facts and logic right now?
Well, sorry. I don't know how to go on this road.
Oh, my bad. I just threw a wrench in there. My bad.
Yes, you did. You threw the landmine, and now I have to kind of step over it. So sip your tea and let me continue.
That was condescending as all get out. Screw you.
Yep, you're welcome. You're welcome, bud. So, but I remember watching a couple. Like, I watched most of Death Note, actually, and I liked it. And so that was like, well, okay, well, I don't like most of them, but I like this one. Right, so it became an exception. And then I saw the first season of Attack on Titan, and I thought it was dope. But then Attack on Titan didn't actually produce another season for years. So I was just like, oh, okay.
One off.
And then I watched randomly the first season of Tokyo Ghoul.
How did you stumble upon that one? That's an interesting way to start.
I don't remember how, actually. I think I saw a bunch of clips on YouTube or something like that randomly, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. So I watched it. But then that's as far as I went, actually. I don't think I even completed the season, because I was just like, this is kind of weird. And it wasn't until college I actually remember seeing, what is that show called? The 7 Deadly Sins, actually. Yeah, I watched...
Another interesting show to start with, but...
Yeah, it was very odd. I don't even know why I started watching it, but
it's funny because
watching it.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna comment to 7 Deadly Sins as well. I remember it's not a show I watched with my parents, right? It's quite sexual in its content, also in its illusions.
Yes.
And it's funny that, you know, when you were more mature, so to speak, that was the first thing you saw, which kind of confirmed your initial impression, but that did not sway you from other shows. Why not?
I'm not sure. I think I liked the fight scenes. I liked all that stuff. I didn't actually fall in love with 7 Deadly Sins, so I don't think I even completed the second season, because it just wasn't for me. But I was like, I've always loved animation, right? I've always loved, like, Avatar: Last Airbender, Gravity Falls, Phineas Ferb, a bunch of other anime shows. I've always loved it. So it wasn't that the animation portion was throwing me off, but there were elements of 7 Deadly Sins that I liked a lot, and so that opened my mind up to try other ones. And then I think the second one I watched was Danmachi. You know, is it wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon?
Yes. Again, you're really good at the names.
I don't know why I watched it.
Yeah. It's an eclectic... Sorry for interrupting, but it's an eclectic start to your journey.
Yeah.
Because you think that the classic journey is, oh, I saw Naruto and I fell in love with Naruto, and then I came. That's what you think it is. So I see what you mean when you said the way you started anime is bizarre.
Yeah, very, very odd. I was literally torn between, should I do my homework or watch this? Let's watch this. I don't want to do homework. And that's what I did.
Clear choice.
Yeah, it was a great choice. And I think I binged the entire season. Absolutely loved it.
And entire season of what? Dungeon?
Danmachi. Yeah, Danmachi. Okay. So, I had a blast doing that, and so I started exploring more. Then it was when I got Crunchyroll, actually. That's when like it really took off, because then it was just an entire app full of different anime, and then I was like,
a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, basically. I think I finished watching Tokyo Ghoul. Absolutely loved it. I watched MHA. Absolutely loved it.
Interesting.
And I just started watching shows.
One of the things that I was actually, maybe after I say mine, we can go into this. I was gonna play a fun game, so to speak, with you on
okay.
three formative animes, like three animes that were formative for you in your journey to become what you just get, I guess, to become the guy who reviews anime on the internet, and then your three GOAT characters. No, these are it has to be your criteria entirely or whatever. You're not saying that Goku's better than Naruto. We're not doing that stuff. If you want to do that, go for it. But it's like based on your criteria.
I don't feel like tossing a grenade.
Exactly. So based on your criteria, what would be? I guess I could ask right now. So, what were your three formative shows? Like you could say, like, okay, these were pivotal for me to continue watching and to get to where I am right now. That's one end, and then on the other end is top three greatest of all time characters in your journey so far.
Okay, so Danmachi, oddly enough, like I think it gave me the strength, man. It gave me kind of the, well, I've seen weirder element.
Why?
It wasn't even that weird of a show.
No. Why? Like, what was appealing about it to you? The character work?
I love fantasy. I grew up on like the Inheritance cycle, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. And so I've always loved fantasy elements. And so it was really cool to see that there were anime that were fantasy related, as well as D&D related to a certain extent, because that's a big inspiration for Danmachi.
I mean, it's wrong to pick up girls in the dungeon, I think.
Yeah, again, if you get past the title, you get a really good show, actually, in my opinion.
And the main character is...
he's pretty basic.
He's basic, but he's not insufferable. Because there are main characters.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I'd almost... He's not a Dickens character. I was going to say he's like a Dickens character, but he's not. A Dickens protagonist, I guess I should say. Because he's qualitatively a bit different. But yeah, he's a fun, lovable MC, and this is Belle Cornell, by the way, is the main protag for this series. It's just a really fun. It actually balances out really well. The character struggling to achieve something, but also making him a bit overpowered at the same time.
Mm-hmm. There's quite a lot of literally. There's a lot of Deus Ex Machina going on in that show. Like, I mean, there's literally a god that his friend.
Or gods, that are constantly interacting. It's actually very interesting, I think. So, that one, like, that opened the door, I guess, for more fantasy isekai like anime, and I absolutely love that genre.
Cool. Second one.
MHA, hands down.
Interesting.
It was such a cool... This was back when I really loved Marvel, too. So, I fell off of Marvel after...
I was going to say, please explain why you don't like Marvel anymore.
Yeah, after, like, I think legitimately the last movie. No, I saw a couple months ago part of the first Avengers movie, but after that I just stopped watching Marvel after Endgame because I was just like, that's a good end point. So that was a really good spot to just stop, I think. But MHA really stuck to the kind of the wholesomeness of the hero genre without being cringy or basic.
It is pretty sophisticated in how it handles, well, childhood view on heroism, essentially. Mm-hmm. Because on one hand, you can easily make the, like, there are tropes you can fall into. Mm-hmm. You know, oh, hero society is great. Oh, you know, there's the anti-hero. Like, you can easily fall into specific thought processes, essentially. But it is quite courageous in how it portrays almost the dark side of everything, essentially, but in not a cynical way. It's quite sophisticated in that way. Even though the show, I mean, oh, superpowers, awesome, yay! But it is quite good at that.
Yes. So that's just been a formative one in my opinion. And the third one,
Death Note.
No, I like Death Note, but it's such a millennial show.
Say more about this, because I'm kind of offended right now.
It's like that. I think that was the start. Maybe like Code Geass was probably a little bit before that, but Death Note was really like that emo, like, no one understands me, man, type of crap that just pervades early millennial childhood, I think.
I'm quite surprised.
Yeah. Like, it's a good series. Like, the first season especially is really good. Because it asks the question, right? It's like, what would you do if you could wish death upon anyone? And it's quite interesting if you analyze it. Like, well, what happens, like, when that power goes to your head?
Also makes you wonder,
is it going too far? All that stuff, yeah.
Also makes you wonder who's actually deserving of death.
Yes, that's another point. Like, do you have a right to be the judge, jury, and executioner? And so I think it's interesting, but I think it's just been done to death, the anti-hero stuff, you know. That's probably why I like MHA so much, because it goes back to, like, the brass tacks, like, clear. What does it mean to be a hero? So yeah, I just never was all into Death Note, because it was just like, it's so, in a way, it's a very sad world too that it's creating.
Yes, I when I think about my experience watching Death Note, I just think of a certain captivation that leaves me feeling quite despondent.
Yeah, it's kind of like Overlord without any of the comedy or levity or anything like that. Because
yes, that's what the show was lacking, in my opinion. Levity.
Yeah, it's like what was it? Season 3 or season 4, where in Overlord, where the adventurers go into the tomb in Nazarick and they all get slaughtered. I remember the comments, like, everybody's complaining about this, but you guys were literally rooting for the bad guys the whole time. Like, these are bad people. These are the villains. Like, in any other anime, they be the villains. We just treat them differently because we are looking at it from their perspective. It's the very same thing. It's very much the same thing with when we're following the perspective of Light, as he does his battle with everybody and all that stuff. Because at first we can sympathize with him because he's, like, taking out criminals and stuff like that. And I certainly would probably do something similar, I suppose, if given that power. To a certain extent, who wouldn't? But then the issue quickly arrives that he is willing to hurt innocent people. Or not hurt, kill innocent people, traumatize people, do horrible things just to continue his rampage. So it's like, it's it's a bit disturbing, I suppose, that people glean on so much to the villain, effectively.
Yeah. So
Remember
not Death
that
Note.
show You? Sorry, to go off this a little more. That You and the father made me watch. No one knows who the father is, but he'll know. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we didn't make you.
You made me shut up.
We didn't make you do anything, okay? You sat there of your own accord. No one forced your eyes open, and you consumed.
Okay, don't give me that Hobbesian crap, okay?
Hey, fun count question for you. Did anyone tie you to your seat? Did anyone force your eyelids open? Did anyone force
you victimized me. I wanted to spend time with my friends, and you made me watch a crappy show. That's what you did. Reflect and weep for what you have done. You will go to the place of weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Oh wow, that took a turn. What do I think? I think you're just trying to avoid personal responsibility. I think actually that you thoroughly enjoyed You, but are trying
maybe I loved to hate it. Maybe that's as far as I will go.
There we go, bud. I always knew you had it in you.
Oh my god, I hate you.
But why'd you bring up You?
Okay, so remember, what was it, the third season or whatever? They're in the suburbs, and they do the whole killing shtick again.
It's a really good way of putting the show. Like, literally, that's it. Like, they're in this location and do the killing shtick. This location, do the killing shtick. This location, killing shtick.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, what is it? Joe Goldberg, who's like the main character, right?
And he stares back into the background.
That cat was ridiculously loud. Good lord. Sorry. Like Joe Goldberg, kills his wife. Spoilers for anyone who cares. And it says like at the end of the season, it's like, yeah, she became kind of a folk hero for women who are trapped in the suburbs or whatever. And also note, she's also a killer too, so she's not like a good person either. She's a psycho, right? And I at the end of the season, I'm just scratching my head. I'm like, wait, why are you venerating a completely terrible person? Because like everybody thinks she murdered Joe Goldberg and literally like baked his body into pies.
His toes.
The illusion was it was his entire body.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here scratching my head. It's like, okay, she's not the good person. There's nothing to venerate there. She's a psycho. And so it's always been like, the reason I allude that to like Death Note and stuff like that, it's like we have this bizarre veneration for the villains sometimes.
Interesting. So, interesting as a viewer's look into your mind. You're quite idealistic in the things you won't like to watch, things you consume. Yeah, because I mean, for example, people will probably be like, "Oh yeah, I mean, you also love Batman, which is interesting. Do you like Batman?"
Yes, he's probably my favorite hero.
Right. So how do you square that circle there, sir?
Well, he is the Dark Knight, right? And he's quite brutal and efficient, but he doesn't cross the line of
killing someone.
Yeah, but his famous line is, "If you kill a killer, you have two killers."
Right, but I mean
which I don't agree with all the time, right? But it's like people oftentimes mock him like, well, if you just kill the Joker, then the problem goes away, which is true. But at the same time, the reason that Batman doesn't kill is more complex than that. He's like, basically, it's the question of who am I to decide who lives and dies? Because he's like, I'm already breaking the law. I'm not supposed to be out here beating criminals up in the middle of the night. That's not I'm not allowed to do that per se. So who am I to take the ultimate step and take life? Which I'm like, that's a fair point, right? It's like it's the question that Death Note tries to answer, that a lot of shows try to answer, is like, who has the ultimate authority over life and death? And a lot of people wish they did. That's why they connect to these characters so much.
Interesting. Well, I guess there's a unified theory of your idealism right there. But so what was the third show? I sorry for derailing you with Death Note.
It was fine. Third show. Crap. I want to say it was either Tokyo Ghoul, first 2 seasons, third and fourth don't count. They don't exist, in fact.
Interesting.
Or Kaguya-sama. And I think I'll honestly lean towards Kaguya-sama.
Whoa! Okay. Pause. That was that. When did you watch Kaguya-sama? Was it a recent thing? Recently?
Oh, I watched like the first season, probably 2019.
Yeah. So that was in college. When?
Yeah.
So it was that
I watched
formative
all these
for you.
shows when I was in college, dude.
I think you watched it when you were 7.
No, I wasn't watching when I was 7.
Okay, all right.
Oh, dude.
So in case anyone is as lost as I am, you saw those early snippets here and there at like the age of 7, and then when you got Crunchyroll, I thought you watched Pokemon.
Not at all. When I was 7, I got like the VHS stuff.
All right, okay. So your formative experiences in anime was formed once you got Crunchyroll, right? So
pretty much, yeah.
You got Crunchyroll, and then your life begins. It's like the genesis of who you are right now in anime.
Yes, I got Crunchyroll in, I believe, 2020.
And you watched Kaguya-sama in 2019?
No, wait, no. I guess it would have been like 2020.
Did you watch Kaguya-sama?
Yeah. Because I remember it was COVID that did it, really.
Right.
Yeah, like I remember it was like we were all home, and unlike you, where your classes gave you like a crap ton of homework to make up for being absent, basically. Mine was like, here's all your assignments, get them done by the end of the semester.
And I remember this. You did not do them until the dying minutes, the gasping minutes of the semester.
Yes, sir.
And you ended up with all A's. This is just utterly amazing to me. Okay, another thing the audience should know about Fun Count. He is annoyingly smart. Annoying. I remember we wrote a blog together really early on, and I would be crafting my blog for the whole week. I was thinking, post a Friday. I'm like, okay, good. Yeah, good. We got one down. Let's go for the next one. And every single day I would write. No matter what it was, I'll write every day. And then I'll come up with something decent. I guess decent enough to pass his sniff test, and post it on the blog. And this guy would just sit down all of a sudden and just proceed to lay out a treatise of whatever it might be. I'm just sitting here like just almost annoyed out of my mind, wanting to be as vindictive as possible, but I just can't because he actually did good work. And the fact that I laugh right now is actually pissing me off. So you know the underlying hatred I have for this guy.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, goats. Characters of all time. Greatest characters of all time.
Okay. Sorry for the confusion. Okay, to give a brief recap of the chronology, because apparently I was confusing, which I probably was. So, 7 to about 11 years old, the only thing things I watched anime related were like Pokemon.
Pikachu.
Good Lord.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yeah, nice.
Here we are. So I watched that heavily. I loved it. Collected all the cards, stuff like that. Loved doing it. Then I watched a little bit of Digimon and a few other things too. So that was it. And I had a brief encounter with Naruto that weirded me out.
Yeah, I think you've said that on the stream before.
Yeah. So I won't go into that again because time. But yeah, I was
Go
like,
listen to I
what?
think our first episode, and you listen to it on there.
Yeah. It was like, okay, I guess like it was the episode where Sasuke gets captured by Itachi and he's tortured with reminiscences of his clan getting slaughtered, which was a bit traumatizing for a 12-year-old to watch, I will say. And then Jiraiya makes the House a Toad.
Yeah.
I was out after that. That was weird. I didn't understand what the heck was going on. So there was that. And I think when I was about 16 or 17, I watched most of Death Note and stuff like that, and AOT first season. But then that was it until college, when I watched part of Tokyo Ghoul and then Danmachi. And then in 2020, when we were all locked in the houses, right? I went and started watching Crunchyroll on Crunchyroll, and I just started hammering away.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there we are. Right. Greatest of all time.
First of all, give a criteria. Like, what's the criteria?
Iconic. Good personality. I hope you can't hear that.
No.
Good. Then probably just I like him. I don't know.
Okay.
Terrible.
So I like him is subjective there?
Yeah, that's a subjective one. Iconic is a bit more like, well,
yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
And then personality wise is a bit more subjective too, but it's like if he's got a good personality. So the reason everyone doesn't like Sasuke for the most part, or at least that's a common occurrence that people don't like Sasuke, is because of his personality. It's not because of his abilities or what he went through. It's just his personality. So number one, I think it's got to be Deku. Just that you don't look surprised at all.
No, and that's number one, or just number
much,
one
yeah.
as in like you're naming. Okay.
I just think he is the
wonderful and beautiful.
Okay,
and
not get too fruity here, my guy. Okay. The reason for it is iconic because it's MHA, dude. Like I think it's crafted the generation to a certain extent. But two, I think he's a prototypical Dickens protagonist to a certain extent, right? He's a put upon individual who hasn't done anything to deserve his circumstances, but keeps that eternal warmth and compassion about him. And he is ridiculously idealistic, even though he lives in a world that tells him not to be. Freaking love that. And three, on the personality, he grows. Not only physically, but he improves emotionally and all that stuff as he grows in confidence and ability. Love it.
Nice.
Plus, he's got that zeal about him that will allow him to do his job. So,
I'm not surprised at all by that.
Yes, chef's kiss. Let's do another chef's kiss.
Please stop.
Maybe a third.
Please stop. Just move on, okay?
Number two, crap.
Light. I'm kidding.
I know.
I know you just went a whole tirade about that.
I want to say, actually, like, out of left field, Naruto to a certain extent for me.
Whoa. Okay, that's surprising to me.
And this isn't so. It's more like he is the OG shonen protag, in my opinion. I think just on that sheer level alone, it puts him on the list for me. Because like everyone has to compare themselves to him to a certain extent.
Right.
I think. So that's just my opinion there.
Okay. And that's number two. You put him under Deku. Interesting.
Yeah, well, because that's Deku's number one for me.
So. Okay, chill, dude.
Subjective.
Is that a body pillow behind you? Oh, ew.
Ugh. You can see that. Put that in the closet. And then I think Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, the lady. Oh no, the main character.
Eye patch. Yeah, main character. Yeah.
Gotcha.
What's his first name? Kaneki. Can't remember his first name actually. Wow. And the reason for that is one, iconic, because everyone knows the look and all that stuff, right? But on the personality, he, like Deku, has this immense amount of growth. He goes from a very weak individual to, in a sense, overcorrecting. We did a failed attempt at this in the past. It was we were doing the like moments in anime that affected you, and one of those was basically him learning not to be a pacifist anymore. And I thought that was such an amazing scene because it like in a real way goes against what is preached to us in the modern world. You know, that violence doesn't solve problems, violence begets violence. It's like, no, it's being able to take a stand. And so for that reason, he's probably number 3 for me.
Fascinating. Well, I guess listeners, do your own analysis there, or your own psychoanalysis of this weirdo. So my background in anime, and my dad, when I was really young, he got us season 4 of Naruto, something like season 4 or 8. He's
Nigerian, by the way. So he's Lagos, Nigeria.
I was correct. I was in Lagos, Nigeria at this point in time, and my dad we just got a new generator for electricity. My dad was like, okay, hey, we now have lights. Let's give the kids something fun to watch. And then he got us Naruto season 4, and I did not know what the heck was going on because I just jumped in the middle.
Amen.
I jumped in the middle. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I did recall though that because I got Naruto, I kind of got some street cred at school because the rich kids actually did watch Naruto, and I was like, oh, I've not seen it, but and I showed them like the pack I got, and then I got to the US in 2016, and I was utterly captivated by One Piece. Like I remember literally going to the store, getting Dots pretzels, and gummy bears, and going to my room, sitting on the floor, watching One Piece. And my brother would go to the gym, he'd come back, just looking all jacked, telling me, one day you're gonna become skinny fat. You're not skinny, you're not fat. You both. I was like, oh, ouch. And then I stopped.
No.
And I was like, and then I stopped. And then I became a gym rat after that, pretty much. And then
he never left.
And true. And then I just stopped watching anime then. And then I got to college, and then I met a guy named Fun Counts. Actually, so one thing about
legal
this
name, Fun and Count.
Yeah, one thing about this pretty interesting is I've never once been made fun of for watching anime, and I find it very interesting because I don't know if the culture shifted on me or I just had a wrong perception. I want to hear what you think about this. I thought that being the guy who watches anime would make me unpopular or just like would bring a lot of unwanted snipes my way. What do you think? Did you anticipate that too?
If you had begun back in the early 2000s, that might have been the case. But you hit at, I think, a shift in the culture, so to speak.
Yeah, because I remember even in my high school, the popular kids were watching anime, and then
everyone watches it now, and it's not weird.
Right,
like, I live up in the middle of the North Woods. Like, all the young people around here I know watch it.
Right, and I mean, so we did jiu-jitsu as well, and in a room full of meatheads, like literally just testosterone is bursting through that whole room.
You can smell it too. Ugh.
And we talk about this gross. I'm gonna comment on that. All we talk about, well, not all, but one of the things we bonded on was anime. Anyway, I found that pretty interesting. So I never.
A guy who's gonna get a tattoo of All Might on his arm.
Yes.
And you won't say a dang word about it because he would tear your head off.
Exactly. And
in a nice way, because he's a very nice guy.
Very nice guy, jacked beyond belief, and also insanely skilled at jiu-jitsu. That's a different thing.
Shout out to you, Josh, man.
Yeah, shout out to Josh. And he gave us, actually, this is funny. So he gave us a shirt based on the characters that we fit the most. So Fun Count got a shirt from him of Deku, obviously. And this actually goes to my top 3 characters. I got the shirt of, want to guess? Delicious.
Rengoku.
Delicious. Yes, Rengoku from
that
Demon
is
Slayer.
Literally him, actually, in real life.
Yeah, and
if he could become Asian, he would just become Rengoku.
Bro, like, look, I'm a closeted Asian. I'll just let you know that. But it's off to the side. I'm gonna comment on that. My girlfriend thinks I'm closeted Asian. And that's how much I love the culture. But
oh my gosh.
So I met Fun Count in college, and then he surprisingly hid from me that he liked anime for 2 years. It wasn't until we lived together that I knew that he was an anime nerd. I guess explain yourself.
Yeah, I have hidden it like a lot. Yeah, I would like hide it like I don't know what you thought I was watching.
I mean, I found out weird. I was like, are you just? What's going?
Sitting at your desk doing it? Ew.
Yeah. I'm like, I find it interesting that you hit it because I was like,
okay, like look at it from my perspective, my poor perspective. Oh, woe is me as woe. You're like this super serious econ dude who's like, you struggle to grasp like human emotion. You're like Terminator. And so I was like, he is going to find out about this and just completely mock me for it.
I mean,
this is legit what I thought.
Interesting. And I thought, I'm like, you're weird for hiding this because like I said earlier, I've not known anyone that has been maligned for watching anime.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. But anyway, so he hid it for 2 years until we lived together, and then he was like, "Oh, you want to?" He was like, "Hey man, just gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you this one thing." And then he showed me like an episode every Friday, something like that. And then it kind of snowballed into what this is right now. Pretty much, we'll be like, I called him my anime dealer. I go to him for every anime, new anime that I want to watch. He gives me some recommendations. He gives me like a nice pairing too, which is really fun. But
upper and downer.
Yeah, I mean, this whole endeavor for me is to pick his brain on anime stuff. Is a whole meta point. But so that's my start in watching anime. For me, the formative shows, obviously One Piece, because I remember just being so absolute. I read the whole manga. Still ongoing. I read the manga. Piss everyone off. I read the manga in Nigeria up to I read it all. I think. Yeah, I read quite a lot of it, or if not all, in Nigeria, and then I came to the US and I watched it. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so fun. I loved the fact that the main character was aloof, and I think there's actually a thread running through a lot of my personal growth as a person. I love authenticity more than anything.
Interesting.
I've always struggled to find who I am, but whenever I see authenticity, I'm drawn to it. Actually, it's one of the reasons that I became friends with Fun Count over here.
Because just weird.
Because yeah, you're weird, no doubt, but you were always unapologetically you, and that's one of the. I mean, that's one of the. I mean,
Too
literally.
much emo music back in the day.
I'm like, hey man, do you have eyes? Oh, sorry, I just didn't know because there was so many bangs all over your face. I mean, and anyway, so I it was one of the reasons I loved Luffy from One Piece. He was just unapologetically himself, and that made everyone around him. They gave everyone around the license to flourish, essentially, and I love that. So that's one. The second one, actually, formative for me. This is hard.
I gotta say Demon Slayer for you. Like, I'm very
Yes.
there.
Yes. Demon Slayer, for sure. Yes, I remember watching it with you, watching an episode with you, and then just literally just binging it on my own afterwards.
Yeah, okay, he is the worst Netflix cheater you'll ever meet. Like, my God.
Okay, dude, we get it, okay? I'm just saying, like, if it's good, why would you want to stop? I remember I used to get so pissed because we've talked about this on another stream. I'm more in the binging camp, and he's more into like the episodic, slow burn camp, and it would annoy me up like to no end if we're watching a really good show. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a break, and we can watch this next week." I'm like, "It's just getting good. Like, let's keep going." And
We've watched 4 or 5 episodes. Take a break, man.
You did push it. Normally you watch like 1 or 2 and then move on. But I was like, I mean, if it's good, why stop? Keep pushing that button. Keep pushing that button. Anyway.
With the cocaine.
Yes, I'm super glad I don't do any drugs because, man, it would be just a one-way street because I'm just gone. But
jabbering on the street corner.
But yes, I think you're right. Demon Slayer for sure. And the third one will actually be. So I'm torn. I guess let me know what you think of this. Let me get your outside perspective. I think it's one of the romance animes that I watched, either Toradora or Your Lie in April.
Crap.
And I'll tell you why you're formative. What did you think was more formative for me among those two?
Toradora.
Interesting. Why?
Followed very closely by Your Lie. Well, maybe because Your Lie was more your thing.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, right? It very much like it made you have feelings.
It did.
So I guess I would switch that for Your Lie.
That's actually a really good point. I would go with Your Lie.
Yeah.
Your Lie in April. I love that show.
It's so depressing.
It was depressing for sure, but I love the show largely because it's gonna sound so pretentious or whatever, but I actually felt something because of the characters in the show. And I was struck by that. I was like, why do I care right now? Same thing with Toradora, which is why I put it up there. But that was formative for me because that opened the whole genre. Because you could ask Fun Counts, who's my anime dealer, like I said earlier, all I want to watch is just like shonen and seinen, just give me all the fight scenes ever. And then I watched those two, and that opened up a different avenue of I guess another different avenue. It's a whole different genre to me of those shows. Any comments there if I go into my goats?
No, I think those are like they fit you very well, and from knowing you, that's probably correct.
Cool. Well, I alluded to this. Rengoku, greatest character of all time for me. Like he had. Well,
it's funny he was only in the show for 5 episodes.
I know. Okay, I am the Fire Hashira. First of all, as a character, give it like it. One thing that Demon Slayer does well, and I think another show does this too. The Blue Eye Samurai does this too. I've not seen it, but I've seen some of it. It puts the character in his element, and then gives his background essentially. It doesn't like do the let's build up to the character. It's almost backward looking. And seeing the Fire Hashira, who, I mean, I cannot describe to you the impression he made on me in passing the torch forward.
Huh.
Like, you know when he died in the sorry for everyone who's listening. He died in the Mugen Train arc. I'm
Wow.
sorry. I'm sorry, but he died there.
Uh-huh.
So spoilers, upon spoilers. One of the things that really struck me, obviously his fights are so amazing because how colorful it is, but and colorful, not as colorful as the Sound Hashira, but colorful in the yellows and orange and red and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
one of the things that really struck me about him as a character was, again, one, authenticity, but two, he understood fundamentally what it meant to pass the torch forward. I think that is a high underrated skill for any leader to have. Is to truly understand what the passing of the torch signifies, and how to pass it on in a way that's not, one, overwhelming, but two, also not like but two, gives the appropriate weight to the actual torch itself. And he exemplified that perfectly.
Interesting.
And I also like to touch that he almost killed the number 2 demon.
Yes. Yeah.
He almost killed him,
Too.
but didn't. I love that touch. I mean, it's a very tragic touch, but I love that touch because, one, it humanized the demon, and humanized in air quotes there, but also it humanized the Demon Slayer core right there, because it just showed how almost insane they're fighting is. Actual humans looking to fight demons. Like,
Yeah,
after the fight, go ahead.
No, it's what I loved about that arc is that when he died, it was like, crap. Like, it was tragic because he couldn't accomplish the goal, right? If he had died but managed to kill a demon, then you'd be like, well, it was trade, right? Because neither side can readily replace them. But he didn't kill him. So the Hashira are down 1.
And a very important one at that.
And the demons are he's just gonna heal automatically.
Right away.
Done.
Yes. Exactly. And that showed the futility of their fight. But in that futility, he passed on the torch, man. That was a touching scene for me. And very quite formative. So for that reason alone, he is my number 1. Number 2, Zoro from One Piece.
Interesting.
Loyalty. Well, first of all, he's just he's a cool character. He's just like, I mean, he's a cool character, single-minded focus on being the best swordsman. And something about that is, well, I love stuff like that. I love being of single-minded focus. It's a very appealing thing to me. And also for other reasons of just like, and here's also another, I forgot to say my criteria. My criteria is you have to be able to carry your own. That's worth your salt. You have to, worth your salt. 2, you have to have a good impact on people, right? And 3, and this is my subjective, you have to have the aura of something about your character has to be mysterious. Anyway, so Zoro has all those 3, and then the third. This is gonna shock you. You ready for this? You ready for this one? Taiga from Toradora.
Interesting.
Actually. I know. So the reason that was she's great, one of the greatest characters of all time, is when you see an archetype, you know they're an archetype. I don't like the half-hearted committing to an archetype. She's the ultimate tsundere beyond belief, and she is a tsundere. Like, she does. Tsundere is a character. Well,
someone who's like soft on the inside but brutal on the outside, basically.
Right, and she lives that out. And there are quite a few characters in anime that do this, but they are the definition of the tsundere, and she does it in a very sophisticated way. One thing I also like is that in the end she won. That feels good, and she has a positive impact on people as well. So there you go. That's my top 3.
It's very interesting. You went
Cool.
outside the box there, my guy.
I did? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, I was not expecting you to say number one Rengoku. I thought he was gonna be like your number 3 or whatever.
No,
But
number one.
interesting. Two, I was not expecting you to say Zoro. I thought you were gonna say Luffy because you talked a lot about him.
Yeah.
But then 3, I was definitely not expecting Taiga.
Fair enough. I mean, people would have thought, if you saw my my handle, Count Sanj, they're like, interesting. Shouldn't that be Sanji?
That's not why he has a nickname.
Nope,
Actually,
it's
not
not why.
a good nickname.
Yeah, it's not. It's a whole. I hope I never have seen this on stream ever, but it's a testimony, essentially.
Yeah.
So, want to jump into WAWW and WAWR?
Yeah, let's do it.
What are you watching this week? Actually, let me go first. Please let me go first. Ready?
Okay, go.
Cool. I am reading Dune, and oh my goodness. Okay, so
this is perspective for people. He's going to probably lose his job because of how much he's reading that stupid book.
Hopefully not. Okay, stop prophesying into my future. But
you're saying hopefully, but I mean, dude, you're confident about that one, huh?
Like there was a day. Okay, in my defense, I made some models and I ran some scripts that took a long time to run, and so I was just working. My work was doing it itself, and I was just reading. Like I'm halfway done with the book. I'm on page.
Oh my gosh. Okay, just for the viewers' note, that's like 1,000 pages, by the way.
I'm on page 482 right now.
Oh my gosh.
And I started book pretty much started book after our stream last week. I was on page 60 or something like that last time. Anyway, Dune. I am blown away. So 2 things there. First of all, it is very rare for people to get me gifts. Because I don't like receiving gifts. I don't even know it's about me. I don't like receiving gifts. Now, he ignores me and does it anyway, and his family does as well. But I don't like receiving gifts. But it is very rare when I'm genuinely excited for a gift. So he mailed to me, he meaning front count. He mailed to me the book of like the whole book, all the books in the series of Dune. And I got done reading the book I was reading last week. I forgot what it is. And I just opened Dune, and on page 15 I was like, we're done. Like this, all right. We're diving into another world right now, and man, it does not disappoint. Page by page, every word, every chapter, the description of the universe, the way Frank Herbert is his name, author of Dune, absolutely just paint like. Even thinking about it, my mouth is getting dry because of how, the desert and how he describes, how he describes the desert and the utter hopelessness. But in all of that, there's still hope. It's so good. It is so good. And oh my goodness, there's so many lines. Like every 3 pages is a line I'm pondering on for hours. It is so good. Like I highly recommend to people if you want to read a book. And you're into sci-fi, and you have no problems with looking up stuff or asking the internet mid-book, mid-reading. If that annoys you, probably chill, because there are a lot of words and a lot of things he says that you have to look up. But man, so thank you. I hate to say this, you got me a great gift. Also, I guess what motivated you to get me that gift? That was a long shot. Oh, I didn't know it was a long shot.
I've been thinking about getting you Dune for a while. And I was looking at, it was that or another one I couldn't make up my mind between. So I started looking up let's find find a copy. I didn't know if you would like it or not, so I wasn't going to get you a hardback. So I was like, okay, let's find a good paperback. And then I saw the whole collection, and it was actually a pretty good deal. So I'm like, okay, this could either blow up in my face or it could be a win. So I was like, okay, let's just do the whole thing. Because knowing you go balls to the walls on anything you like. So you'll watch an entire anime in a day, speed read a book as fast as you can. You don't stop. You can't stop, won't stop attitude. So I was like, okay, so if he reads Dune, he's gonna want to just keep going down the series if he likes it. So I was like, it was a calculated gamble, and it paid off.
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, top 3 gifts of all time I've ever received. Ever. Easily top 3 gifts of all time.
And the first one was the gift of life.
Okay, I mean, if counting gift of life and salvation, then it's like it's not top 3, that's top 3 at this point. But, but dude, it's so good. I fully recommend this to people, even you. Now, I mean, obviously, Dune itself is Dune as a book. Is self-recommending. Like, if you've seen the movie, like, it's so good. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. That's all I'm reading. It's all I'm doing. Watching, reading, Dune.
Ever.
How about you?
So there was an anime called Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, full title. And it was being released in summer, this past summer. However, its production schedule was just plagued by problems. And so they only ever managed to release 9 of the 12 episodes. So by episode 9, it was like 3 weeks late, and they couldn't get any of the other ones out, and so it was on indefinite hiatus. And so it was everyone was genuinely wondering, like, are we ever going to get the complete season here? And so I kind of just moved on from it. I would check every once in a while. But then, just a couple of days ago, I went and checked Crunchyroll and see what had just dropped. And they had dropped all 3 of the remaining episodes for everyone as like a Christmas present. And so I stayed up way too stinking late, finishing off the entire season. And it does not disappoint. Zom 100 is like societal critique par excellence, I think. Right? It's if the name didn't belie it enough, it's a anime about a zombie apocalypse. It's Japan, and you have the usual shenanigans therein. However, the zombies themselves aren't really even the main focus after a while. It's actually the characters and their growth. So the main character, Akira, is a office worker at it's called a black company, right? Basically an exploitative corporation that runs their employees ragged, right? And he works there for 3 years, and he is about ready to actually just die. And he describes himself as being basically a zombie. And so when the apocalypse hits, instead of being like a horror to him, it's actually liberating. Because his first words were, I don't have to go to work today.
Yeah. And he keeps that enthusiasm throughout the entire show.
Yes.
Every day for him is like, oh, I don't have to go to work today. That's the every day for him.
Yes, pretty much. And the show starts off at pretty basic of just this kind of libertarian, I'm free. And so he's able to just do whatever the heck he wants, sleep in, clean his apartment, do all that type of stuff. But over time, the show develops very quickly into, what do you do with your freedom? What's my place in the world? And that's basically the same question every single character in the show has to answer is, what do we do with this freedom? And I'll have to do a solo episode or whatever on this, because it's a legitimately fascinating thing. Awesome.
I'm glad you like it. I mean, obviously, when it came out, you were one of the first people on the show. So like, okay, this is gonna be a good show, and you pointed it out.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, did it surpass your expectations, or did it just about hit what you thought it was gonna hit?
So it changed. My expectations were actually different for it. I actually thought it would be a zombie show and all that stuff, but it would be more zany and wacky because the character was just kind of enjoying life. And it turned out to be more serious in a sense than not. because don't get me wrong, it's still a zany comedy styles show. Very much akin to Shaun of the Dead in a sense, although it doesn't make light of the fact that people have died, right? But it's more of like, well, this happened. There's no use mourning it too long because we have to keep moving. And basically, it's a show about not just surviving but living. Again,
great way of putting it. Because I'm constantly struck. I've not seen the entire thing for the record. But I'm constantly struck by in the show by the fact that society is literally falling apart. Obviously, right, and everything that has been built on it. So like electricity, grocery stores.
Yeah.
Everything about that is falling apart. Like I said, it's a social commentary because it's like when you don't have people, when you have people to manage stuff, or to oversee your institutions or oversee your society, it falls apart. And people neglect their responsibilities, it falls apart. Even if, in the same society, you have the black companies that are exploiting their people, just writ large. Society falls apart if people aren't paying attention.
Yeah, it's also one of those things, and I don't know if I agree with this or not, but it's a good point, I think. It's almost depicted as if society is already beginning to collapse. It's just the zombies that push them over the edge.
Interesting. I've not had that perspective before.
Because it's like, it's not like, I think some interpret it as like a socialist calling card or whatever, and I don't think that's it. I think it's that too many people do jobs they legitimately hate, work themselves to the bone, and are not able to, or just don't appreciate the things in their life, and misprioritize. And then they more and more become like zombies. Because I told this through text, through a wall of text, by the way. It was
which was quite well written, for the record.
Thank you. That it's very much akin to the original Dawn of the Dead from 1970s by George Romero, and to a certain extent, like Shaun of the Dead, where the zombies are depicted as acting like they did when they were alive, right? And this is played for kind of laughs. Like in the original Dawn of the Dead, all the zombies migrate to the mall because that's where they spent most of the time in life. And this was a kind of a shot at consumerism back in the day, right? While in Shaun of the Dead, you see zombies basically, it's a comedy, so the zombies basically behave like humans in some fashion. It's just really stupid. And so that's kind of one of the shots as well. Although Shaun of the Dead, it should be noted, is a satire and a parody of zombie movies. So it shouldn't be taken seriously in that regard, per se. Excuse me. So, I think the ultimate point of the show is that like through death, people learn how to live, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Lovely. What else did you watch this week?
What else am I watching? I've been watching the English dub of Odd Taxi. And Odd Taxi is a show that I've recommended before. That like you love.
The entire episode last week was all recommendation of 2 weeks ago. It was all recommendation of Odd Taxi, honestly.
Yeah. It's Odd Taxi is such a tightly written show that it is the perfect size for the season it's in, right? It doesn't need any follow-up, it doesn't need a sequel. It's just like a perfect 12 episode season or 13 episodes or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It's very much like Toradora in that sense, that you don't no more, no less. Done.
Yeah.
And so far the English stuff's been okay. Like I still prefer the sub.
I am
It
utterly curious. Like, I know we've talked about this before, but the fact that you can rewatch a show to me is amazing. Like, genuinely, like it's amazing to me. One, for multiple reasons. First of all, there's so much out there to watch. Second of all, in the rewatching of the show, are you getting more out of it? Because it's not obvious to me that you reread stuff. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. You reread quite a few things.
Yeah, it's so the reason why I rewatch a lot of shows is like if I'm paralyzed by choice for that evening, or I want to go to sleep to it, I'll put on something I've already seen. That way, I do the same thing with audiobooks, by the way, too, where it's like, okay, I want to go to sleep, but I don't want to stay up listening to it or watching it because I'm really, really interested in it. So I'll watch something I've seen before. That way, if I fall asleep and I wake up and it's like 4 episodes later, I'm like, there's no loss because
You've
already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but it's also the fact that I do get stuff out of it.
Do you get more out of it, or do you just get reminded about some things you learned earlier? I mean, there's value in both, for the record.
Both, right? It's kind of like rereading Proverbs, right? Every time you reread it, you're probably gonna get something out of it.
Okay, all right. Let's back up a bit. Are you likening anime to Proverbs in the Bible?
No, I'm likening the fact that you can, if something's of quality, you can go back through it and still get something out of it.
Right.
Right. It's like every time I see a sunset, I'll marvel at that's a good looking sunset, even though I've seen hundreds of sunsets in my life.
Clear.
It's just like it's one of those things where it's like it inspires awe.
Mm-hmm. Do you maybe it's different from both perspectives, because I, again, like listeners will know, I don't put in any effort. Well, I very rarely put in effort to finding shows that I'll watch. I'm like, and I'm like, oh, I have all these other. If I ever don't have anything to watch, I'm like, hey, dealer, what should I watch right now? And you tell me what to watch. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if there's so many shows out there, why would you spend your time sitting there rewatching what you've already seen?
I mean, this kind of plagues me too, because it is the question, like, to watch something is necessarily not to watch something else.
Opportunity cost.
Right? Yeah, but I'm like, I don't know. I guess the Zom 100 point is like, I don't care.
Fair enough. Hey, look, that's
a
really good
argument. I feel like watching
argument.
the show tonight, so I'm just gonna watch the show through it.
That's a really good argument. I
yeah.
can't knock that. Can't knock that at all. Awesome. All right. Anything else? I want to hop into the plans for the next year.
No, we're good. I think we've been at this for like an hour and 15. Short stream. We're gonna do a short stream.
Right. No short streams over here. Once the going gets good.
I hate to see what a long stream looks like.
Oh yeah, it goes 4 hours. But
gosh.
My goals or my aspirations for this stream, for this channel for the new year, one I think I would actually just want dramatically improved quality, right? Where maybe by the end of the year we look at our videos and we're like, this is not what we were a year ago.
Which is what you want, right? It's like seeing
correct.
your white belt self versus your blue belt self.
Correct.
It's like there's been definite improvement.
Mm-hmm. And all of that will come with, renewed expectations from the audience. And speaking of audience, I would like to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of next year. That would be kind of sick.
You just upped it. You said 100 before.
Sorry, 100 subscribers next year.
Basically, you want to be able to be monetized by next year, because I think that's actually the cutoff point.
100 or 1,000?
1,000.
Oh, yes. Monetizing is fine. I just mean more like I think you said it really struck me. Well, no, you said it and it struck me. You said, I want to be able to look at the comment section and recognize who that is. And in a way, I want the people who listen to this stuff to come, because I know we're friends essentially, and I like to have. This might not have my only friend, literally my only friend that I talk to on a regular basis is you.
Do you need
Stop.
a hug?
Stop. I knew you were gonna make some slimy joke. You slimy human being. Golly.
Slimy?
Yes.
Affection for one's fellow man is slimy?
Yes.
Wow. How
Slimy.
dare you, sir.
Oh, dare you. But yeah, so I want to be able to, just imagine I have 100 friends of like, people like that. I also kind of want, it's gonna sound so weird. I want to see my first like bad comment, people like coming after me, because
I just imagine us be like, F you guys, F your families.
Yeah.
Die. And we're like, thank you.
Because I mean, look. You keep hearing a lot of influencers being like, "Oh, I got like the comments in my videos have become
so toxic."
Yeah, toxic. Talk on that.
It's all in the perspective. Like if you can't handle criticism, which I'm 50-50 on it. Like sometimes I'm great at taking it, other days I'm just like, nope.
It's a mood thing.
It's a mood thing. If you're not in the mood for it, don't read your comments.
Exactly.
Are you dumb?
I just want to be able to. I want to be able to have like, oh, I just had a horrible comment. Like, oh, awesome, someone cares so much to post something like what this on my channel. I would also like to, at some points, do more solo episodes too, on both of our ends. Pretty much increase the frequency of uploads. Obviously we keep this is a primary thing. This is primary, and everything other thing is an add-on. I also like, basic, really nice intro, really nice outro. Possibly changing our avatars in the new year. Making more sophisticated.
So, are you done?
No.
Oh.
Got depressing. Like, actually, no. You go for it. I don't want to hog the mic there.
I just stole the mic.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I reflect most of his demands from, like, I demand this. We deserve this. Intro, outro, I would love to have like something that's slick looking, and that's ultimately our goal. I would love for our avatars to have varying facial expressions and all that stuff like that. So when we do solo episodes, we can have kind of a full range movement thing. I don't know why I was doing my fingers, but okay.
He just did gang signs for the record.
Oh yeah. I just pledged allegiance to like a dozen different street gangs. Crap, you just put me off the train track again. Okay, getting back on, I think that would be good. Ours are legitimately created by Dolly, so like we've gotten some mileage out of them. I'm overall impressed with what they are. In fact, I want our future ones to look kind of similar to it, because
I like mine. I really like mine a lot.
Attached.
Same.
Yeah, but I do want some professional touch to it, and neither of us can draw, so.
Oh, none of us can do the digital art stuff. It's harder.
That should be clarification there.
Yeah, but yeah, I fully agree. And also, I guess one of the more ambitious things I would actually like to do on this channel at some point, probably not next year, is to have a not a watch party, but have a full on series. So we have like a different playlist, different series, where we just make our way through. Say we're gonna do like a series on Dostoevsky, we make our way through all these books. Do a series
like a book club, basically. Yeah,
like a book club, or even anime clubs. Very soon, by God's grace, I'm gonna do something in February. That's gonna once I do it, I'm gonna have so much more time back on my hands. That we're dedicating to that thing. Long story.
Once you deliver the baby, it'll be
exactly. I'll have more time because that's how it works as a parent. But I would like to watch. For example, we could pick maybe one of the latest seasons of stuff and just like watch it through, and every single time we watch it through, we come on here and just do a review, like a back and forth with what you think of this kind of thing. And then so more about this is the broader goal of this will be once the channel community builds, we could get them on Discord, and we could like a watch party, or like a be like friends. Like watch stuff. Talk about watch the show. Talk about it. You know, what's your analysis? Like stuff like that.
Anime club.
Anime club.
Yeah.
Imagine we had 1,000 of those people. I know.
So I guess the brass tacks. What my desire is, like my deep, mirror, mirror on the wall.
Who's the fairest of them all? Me.
That was fruity as fudge, by the way.
Excuse me?
Yes.
You're excused. My girlfriend would say, you're excused.
You're excused. Yes.
When I say I'm excused, like you're excused, I'm like, that's good. Darn, that's good.
That's fine. I didn't use it. What I want is to know that people like our content, I guess. Right? And I guess if like no one engages in it, then that's our answer. But like ultimately, I want to give a good go at it. Have as high a quality as we can about it, and then the sticks lie where they fall, I guess. Right? Because it's like it'd be very awesome to have, even if it's a small community, a community that's like what you're doing there. It's just me, man. It's just like my opinion, man.
I for sure agree with this. It would be very nice to do. So onto the next year, we're gonna work harder, obviously, to achieve what he's wanting to achieve. But I hope the audience liked this short, quote unquote, episode of 1 hour and 21 minutes.
Yeah. Which is longer than last week's, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm not feeling that well today. Let's just do a shorter one. No, once the talk gets talking, it's off to the races.
Yeah, once I start blabbering on, it's hard to shut me up.
True that. Amen to that.
You're not supposed to agree to it, jerk.
Exactly. Well, talk to you all next week.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.